good evening from Washington, D.C. Ako po si Raymond Batak. I'm the Commercial Counselor at the Philippine Embassy. Again, good morning to our participants in the Philippines, and good afternoon and good evening to those in the United States. So we are now having, we are having our fifth Trabaho, Negosyo, Kabuhayan webinar. Last week, for those who were able to attend, we had a session with 3 real estate companies from the Philippines, si Alveo Land, SM Development Corp, and Ortigas Land. So in that last webinar, pinag-usapan po natin yung different investment opportunities in the Philippines in terms of real estate, and how is the real estate market doing in the Philippines? Is it a good investment? What projects are going up? What areas are now for development in the Philippines? So this time around, what we did, kasi nga alam ho namin na there's really a strong interest from our overseas Filipinos and Filipino Americans on real estate. Our webinar tonight will focus on more of yung ongoing concerns yun na po with real estate in the Philippines. For example, you may already have properties in the Philippines na matagal nang nandun na hindi nyo na you're not able to manage it, or maybe nakapagmana po kayo ng mga properties, or you have certain disputes right now with certain properties in the Philippines na sa inyo or sa mga kamag-anak ninyo. So tonight we have 3 resource persons. We have first si Bong Gutierrez. He's from a company called Bahay sa Pinas, which he established in 2015. He's been in the US for many years now, but he has experience in real estate both in the Philippines and in the US. So he put up this company really to help out a lot of our Filipinos here in the US to address these kinds of issues. So he will make a presentation. Papag-usapan po niya yung ano ba yung mga issues na pwede kayong tulungan. What are the things na, maybe yung mga concerns niyo with investing in the Philippines. He will try to address these through his presentation. And we will take questions at the end of the webinar. We're also joined by Ms. Ann Ramirez from the FARIPA. This is yung Filipino American Real Estate Professionals Association based in Silicon Valley. So of course, they also do the same thing. They support our Filipino Americans. I believe they also did some trade missions to the Philippines to help Filipinos here who want to invest in the Philippines. And lastly, we'll also be joined by si Ms. Edith Manalad. She's the first vice president of PNB. So she will also talk about siguro mga financing opportunities that will be available. So I don't want to take much time because I know there's going to be a lot of discussion, a lot of questions. So I will turn it over to Bong, but please take yung Q&A chat na function. Please send your questions there, and we will do our best to answer them live, or kung hindi live, we will get to them after the webinar ends. So without further ado, I turn it over to Bong.
Thank you, Raymond. Good afternoon to everybody, and good evening in some areas of Philippines, sa United States, and of course Canada, and good morning po sa lahat ng taga-Philippines. Again po, I'm Bong Gutierrez of bahaysapinas.com. But before po mag-start, I'd like to thank first, of course, the group po of Department of Trade and Industry in US and the Philippine Consulate General for arranging this for our kababayans. So I'd like to start the presentation today via a video. Okay. Right? So, nagsimula po ang lahat with a big question: how to answer the problems of Philippine properties. No? Matagal na po ito nangyayari sa Philippines, but there's no answer. No? I've been in the business for more than 20 years, And so this is the solution. Create a solution rather than to wait for solutions to come. No? So ito po yung Bahay sa Pinas. We are the very first US company that provides an ecosystem of services for anything and everything about Philippine real estate. No? So we have major services geared towards solutions. Number one po is that we are helping right now our kababayans to invest properly in the Philippines. And one thing good about it is that there's no need now for you to go to the Philippines to ask for assistance or help. We can all do it here in United States. So we have about marami po tayong developer companies wherein we partner up with them so that they'll be able to offer these services local. No, sa US, no need now to go to the Philippines. One thing good about Bahay sa Pinas also is that we provide selling services. If you want to sell your property in the Philippines, this is very much connected with the appraisal services. As we all know, in the Philippines, it's hard for you to determine the real value of your property. There is no such thing as comparables. No? With the appraisal services of Bahay sa Pinas, available po ito in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, you will be able to get now the right value for your property when you sell it. And on top of that, we are also providing construction service. If the client wants to put up their own house from ground up, or probably an improvement of an existing house or a condo, or probably gusto niyo talagang magpa-construct ng building, we can do that for you. Now, one of the good thing about our services in US is that we are now able to provide many types of loans. Now we have Philippine loans, different types of loans, housing loans, construction, refinancing. But one thing good about it is that we are now able to provide US loans for Philippine properties. Later on, we're going to discuss more about the US loans because it's going to blow your mind now. We can do it now here in United States easily. Now, one of the good thing about Bahay sa Pinas is one of the specialty of our office is that we can solve many types of problems, if not all problems in the Philippines. Regardless of any type of issues, let's say you have problems with titling, taxes, you have problems with squatters or illegal occupants, and of course, if there's problem with illegal sale. So there is a service called, we are the only one providing this due diligence now, wherein we look into the entire history of the property to determine the problem and then come up with a solution to all our clients. So this is very much needed to most of our clients here in US and in other areas as well. Now, one of the good thing about the service of retirement is that we are now able also to help out retirees to get loans now for Philippine properties. As we all know, in the Philippines, there is a limitation of age. If you reach the age of 65, you cannot get loan, no? Or probably if you want to get a 15-year loan, your age today should be about 49 or 50. Kung ikaw po ay lumagpas na doon, maiksi na po yung loans no, na available for you. With our service, we can now provide also loans no, for retirees, for veterans, look for the best retirement homes in the Philippines. And the best part nito po is that by next year, we'll be able now to launch the use of Medicare in the Philippines. So watch out niyo po yan for 2021. Now, lastly po is the service called business to business and business development, wherein we help landowners to plan well what to do with their properties. To most times, landowners in the Philippines are being taken advantage of. They do not know really what's the best use of their land, what to do with their property. With our service, we can now provide and help plan out, develop the property also, and provide investors to the landowners. And also, we are now helping out many businesses to move and expand to the Philippines. As of today, since we started, the total contribution of Bahay sa Pinas has grown tremendously, and all of these services will soon be available also in Europe, Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai, Japan, and other Mid-Eastern territories. To date, hindi lang po ito para sa company of Bahay sa Pinas, but ito po talaga i-design for our kababayans. As of today, the total contribution of Bahay sa Pinas to Philippine economy is actually $101 million or 5.1 billion. worth of property investments and developments in the Philippines to date. Last month alone, within 15 days po, no? Within 15 days last month alone, maski po may COVID crisis, we were able to help out the Philippine economy with fresh 417 million pesos or $8.61 million worth of property investments in the Philippines. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our partners, our clients, no, who participated in last month's event, no, for the office for the Philippine properties. No? Now, there are many reasons kung bakit po before hindi tayo or hesitant tayo to invest back in the Philippines or probably to look into the properties that we have in the Philippines. Share ko lang po itong small lang po na story. Marami pong tayong kababayan na nandito sa States, trabaho ng trabaho, kayod ng kayod, pero nakalimutan po nila that their property in the Philippines can actually work for them. But hindi po natin sila mabiblame. Let me show you the problems and we'll come up also and the solutions also provided here on. Number one is we have so many unresolved property issues in the Philippines brought about by unreliable sources. We do not know who will actually help us out. Karamihan po niyan is we are being taken advantage of by our friends or relatives or hindi naman po natin nilalahat but the people closest to us. At the same time, there is no US present. There is no US office that protects the consumers and of course transparency. And of course, there is a big time zone difference. By the time we are ready to talk to the person helping us, gabi na po in the Philippines, di ba? So marami po tayong problem when it comes to time zone difference. And of course, we do not speak the same language because there is no escrow in the Philippines that protects both the buyers and the sellers. At the same time, there is no US bank for Philippine properties before. No? As we all know, getting a Philippine loan in the Philippines is very hard because we have to produce a representative or tinatawag po yan na SPA. And of course, that SPA now should now be also a co-borrower. Imagine if your relative will also be a co-borrower of your property na hindi na naman property. So that's a big problem. At the same time, we have limitation to age and of course there is no tax benefit. At the same time, it's hard also to send money to the Philippines through remittances because in US, it's illegal to actually issue post-dated checks. Any check you issue in the United States is deemed encashable ngayon. Maski po 3 years from now or 5 years from now. The worst part is that there is no signature verification for US checks in the Philippines. So if you send checks to the Philippines, nagkamali ka po, back and forth na po yan. No? So for the meantime, madedelay ka na with your payment. At the same time, you have an issue with dollar to peso exchange rate. And of course, there is a service called yung consularization. Imagine, or the apostille na po yung tawag ngayon yan. No? Imagine if you are based in Seattle, Washington, you really have to go to Philippine consulate in San Francisco just to fix that problem or magpapa-consularize ka po ng document mo. Right now, it's called apostille. We can do it now locally in your different state. And then our team members po can literally go to your houses and then help you out complete the documentation process. So that's the best part po nito. No? And of course, sabi nga natin is the solution is that all transaction now is local. We are present in most states, Canada, and other countries. All of our personnel are US-based with Philippine office as well. So we are very much well-versed with consumer protection, no time zone difference. At the same time, the office acts as the escrow. The best part about it is that there is now a US bank or banks now for loans for Philippine properties wherein you are now in full control. There is no need for a representative in the Philippines. All based in credit score, no age limitation, and of course, the best part is the tax benefit. At the same time, all payments will be now in dollars. And of course, we have now, again, a service for consularization services or apostille na tinatawag po natin ngayon yan. And of course, you have proper guidance for what property to get in the Philippines. So all of these problems for the last 30 years, binigyan po natin ng solutions. No? Kasi po talagang pagod na tayo to seeking for answers. Now we have these answers available for everybody. So in summary po, Bahay sa Pinas is the services of Bahay sa Pinas is a solution to different generations, so that we can find solutions now for different families. At the same time, this is an opportunity for any local resident in US and in Canada to earn from this venture as well. No? So this is not just available in Philippines, available na po siya ngayon sa Amerika. Now, why are we so passionate about Philippine real estate? Na? Ito po yung sinasabi ko kubahagi. Bakit tayo gustong-gusto natin yung Philippine real estate? It's mainly because for so many decades, we've been bombarded with negative problems sa Philippines. And in 2008, we were able to break that. In 2018, according to World Bank, Philippines was named as the best country to invest in. We were able to surpass the performances of Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. For so many years or ilang decades po nating pinoproblema yan. Hindi po natin nalalagpasan yung performance. But in 2008, we were able to surpass yung hurdle po na yan. But we never stopped there. In 2019, we are very consistent because we got the third slot of all the countries in the world. Number 3 po yung Philippines is the best country to invest in. Nalagpasan po natin yung performance again of Singapore, Indonesia, Australia, and of course United States and China. Nalagpasan po natin yung performance. Now, why is it, of all the things happening in the Philippines, the biggest beneficiary is actually Philippine real estate? Now, why is it that the Philippine real estate in the Philippines is very much stable? It's mainly because of this. It's all about the numbers. In 2016 alone, we need around 5.5 million houses, or a combination of single-family homes or condominiums. Imagine 5.5 million houses. And according to the data, we can only provide all of the developers combined, not just one developer, but the rest of the developers combined can only provide a maximum of 200,000 units per year. Imagine in Metro Manila alone, we need around 1.4 million properties or houses. And yet, we can only provide, the government and the private sector can only provide about 50,000 units per year. So if you're gonna ask me, when is the time wherein we will be able to meet the problem of 2016? It will take us 28 years po. So that's the main reason why the real estate in the Philippines pataas po ng pataas ang values ng mga property. It's a basic thing sa economics. It's all about supply and demand. Now, let me show you also the recent statement from Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. According to Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the equity or the property market in the Philippines is actually shielded from asset bubble. So ito po yung sinasabi natin how good or how stable the Philippine real estate is in the Philippines. Now, ang dami pong good things about Philippines, ang dami pong benefits to anybody sa Philippines or sa atin here. But why is it for the longest time we never thought about investing in the Philippines or probably looking into the properties that we have in the Philippines? There are many reasons. Number one, we think Philippines pa rin po as a third world country. And of course, we keep on listening to chismis. Alam naman po natin na ang chismis po is the fastest way to to get information, And then, not all first generation though, but most of the first generation who went here sa US left the Philippines ang pangit ng Philippines dati. And then they tell you stories about those horrific stories in the past. And then at the same time, we do not think of global income because we are so busy surviving in United States. And of course, we have this bad impression of doing business in the Philippines. We think of corruption, we think of red tape, So those are the major reasons kung bakit hindi natin masyado naiisip ang Philippines. But through the services that we were able to produce, conduct, for number of years now, we were able to help out more than 3,500 clients to date. Hindi po ito 20, 30, 40, but more than 3,000 success stories na po yung natulungan natin. But let me give you the stories, no, may mga kababayan natin, and I hope you can relate to them. Number one po is our very first client is actually based in San Jose, California. Nung pumunta po sila sa atin, ang sabi nila, Bong, tulungan mo nga ako because my property is, I'm so tired of sending money to the Philippines for the last 30 years. Ano po sila dito, truck drivers, more than three generations. Sabi nila, Bong, ang property ko in the Philippines nasa Mindanao, nasa bundok, palayan, nasa probinsya. Yan po yung description nila. Pag tinignan mo yung description nila, you might think na parang walang hope yung property nila. Nang tinulungan po natin sila with their problems sa Cagayan de Oro, they never thought that the property was actually worth $17 million. Ngayon po, if you're gonna ask me where they are now, wala na po sila sa Amerika. Nasa Philippines na po sila. No? Next is we have a client based in East Coast, no? And they have a property with squatters, no, sa Philippines for more than 20 years. Pinoproblema po nila yan back and forth sa korte. And then finally, we were able to help them out with the squatter issues. And then sabi sa akin ni Tito Boy, sabi niya, Bong, please sell na lang my property because I'm already 78 years old. Sabi ko kay Tito, let's not sell the property with $1.3 million. Let us look into the property and then we'll find you an investor if there's a big potential. And true enough, nakinig po siya, maski 78 years old na po siya. And right now, the family from $1.3 million will be able to get $6.5 million. Now, we also have a client for more than 30 years na problema po siya with the right of way ng property niya in Cebu. Kasi lahat ng kapitbahay, lahat ng kamag-anak told her, no chance because there are houses already surrounding the property. And we were able to help her out. And right now, she has a potential of getting a $4.1 million from zero. And then, on a regular basis po, marami tayong natutulungan na retirees to move to the Philippines. Of course, through the loans na we have. And of course, on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, we keep on helping out investors to get the right properties to Philippines. Now, of all the stories po natin na beneficial to the property owner, hindi lang po ito sa kanila, no, sa property owner. This is also beneficial to those who are US residents or kababayan natin. Yung number one po, no, yung the one who referred to us, the client from Cagayan de Oro, earned $340,000 kasi binigay niya po yung kliyente sa atin. And then number two also is $130,000. Yung nagbigay po sa atin ng client for the Cebu property will have a potential income of $82,000. And on a regular basis, our clients, our partners who are helping out kababayans to invest in the Philippines in a regular basis, monthly po yan, earns between $2,300 to $11,000 per month. So ganito po yung benefits po ng services po natin in US. Now, let me tell you a story of an actual investor sa Philippines. Gaano po ba talaga kaganda ang pag-invest ng property? Kasi po, I'd really like you to consider of really looking into your property or probably start investing in the Philippines. Ito pong naka-red na to is my sister. Alam niyo po, if there is anybody na bibigyan mo ng advice, it's so hard to give a financial advice to your kamag-anak or kapatid mo na lalo na. Dahil pag nagkamali ka po, lagot, no? So, ito pong sister ko, hesitant po siya mag-invest ng properties. Kasi sabi niya, Bong, lahat naman kayo nasa Amerika, yung properties na rito, I'm maintaining them, okay na ako. But I told my sister, ate, hindi. You have to really invest on your own so that magkaroon ka ng gain, no? Start investing. So after so many years, I was able to convince her, ito po finally nakuha niya na yung property niya. But my sister was so happy. Ito po yung aming group messaging magkakapatid. Ito po yung sabi ng kapatid ko. She earned already 100% from the property. It's so easy to rent it out because it's very close to major establishments. And the best part po nito, nakakatuwa, nakakalambot ng puso is that buti daw nakinig siya sa akin. But why is it that my sister was so happy with her investment in the Philippines? She started by investing in a one-bedroom condo way back in 2012. The value of that property, she closed it for about $64,000 or $3.3 million. The same property in 2012, in 2019 po, the value of that property is now $220,000. So imagine nyo po, no? My sister was able to gain about $156,000 without doing anything. Nagbabayad lang po siya per month, no? So the actual value performance of the property of my sister was actually 35% per annum. If you can find an instrument wherein it can give you a 35% nang wala kang ginagawa, sasama po ako sa iyo. Kasi ganito po kaganda yung Philippine properties na 35% without doing anything. But my sister never paid in cash. My sister started paying 500 pesos to dollars, no, to reserve the unit, and monthly payment of $356 per month, representing 20%, no? So in total po, within 3 years, nagbayad lang po siya ng $12,800 and she gained $156,000. So in reality, my sister gained about 160% per year. Imagine nyo po, no? Nire-relate ko po itong investment in the Philippines is like a car. Ang kotse po, pag ikaw ay nag-invest sa stocks, bonds, mutual funds, nothing wrong with them. They are also good. But it's like a manual transmission sa kotse. Yung galaw, it's depende po sa pagkambyo mo, sa pagmaniobra mo sa kotse. Ang investment po ng property sa Philippines is like naka-cruise control ka, no? Naka-automatic and then cruise control. Patakbuhin mo lang, dire-diretso na po yan. Tapos siya na po yung bahala doon sa kotse. Talagang siya tumataas ng tumataas yung value. And keep in mind, this is only the $356 per month or 17,000 pesos of an excess money of my sister every month. So ganyan po kaganda yung performance ng real estate sa Philippines. So it can really actually help you out. For those na mga kababayan po natin here na nag-iisip, where can I get the down payment for my house in US? Start investing in the Philippines because it will take you so many years and decades just to come up with savings money just for you to get a down payment for your US property. The Philippine property can actually help you out. Imagine, yung sister ko po, $156,000. Kung meron po siyang dalawa o tatlo, meron na siyang $500,000. Almost $500,000 just for down payment, no, sa US property. Now, because of I'm so thankful because nag-i-evolve na po yung market and we were able to create a partnership po, no? Sabi po natin kanina, getting properties in the Philippines will not be feasible if not with a partnership with different banks, no? So let me give you our partner bank, no, from PNB, who will explain more about loans, no, sa Philippines, no, for US loans. So Miss Edith.
Good morning, Philippines. Good afternoon, USA. My name is Edith Manalad, General Manager for Philippine National Bank, Los Angeles branch. Philippine National Bank has been serving the Filipinos for over a century now. Just last month, PNB celebrated its 104 years of founding anniversary. PNB is popularly known as the bank that you can lean on. Sa PNB, para kang nakasandal sa pader. Those were the taglines associated with PNB during the mid-60s and until the early 80s. PNB's commitment to serve the community was once again witnessed when it revived the Bank on Wheels. As you can see on the picture, PNB find ways to make banking services continuously available despite the COVID-19 pandemic. It deploys its Bank on Wheels to different localities, not only in Metro Manila, but also in the provinces where accessibility to cash is limited. Bank on Wheels are basically armored-type vehicles with ATM machines, with tellers and security guards to ensure the security of our personnel and our customers. The bank on, going back, Bong, please. Okay. The Bank on Wheels was highly appreciated not only by PNB owned customers, but also customers of other Philippine banks as they were given the chance to withdraw their monies despite lockdowns, ECQs, MEQs, and other Qs, barbecues. Once again, PNB stood by to its present tagline, at PNB, you are first. Tunay na masasandalan. Okay, next slide please. From Batanes to Holo, you can see everywhere. PNB has 716 branches nationwide and 1,553 ATM machines. Overseas, PNB also made its presence felt, no? To countries where most of our Filipino overseas workers work and Filipino migrants stay and reside. PNB has branches in Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Europe, Middle East, Canada, and of course, USA. In the US, we have PNB Guam, PNB New York, and PNB Los Angeles. Many Filipinos are not aware at what we offer at PNB LA. So I was requested by back to the last slide. Okay. I was requested by DTI Commissioner Eric Alnar, I'm not sure if he's listening now, to discuss about account opening. A lot of Filipinos staying in California are not aware that they can open actually an account, a Philippine-based account through PNB LA. Especially those Filipinos who still have business interest in the Philippines. Let's say may mga rental properties sila or may namana sila from their relatives or they sold properties in the Philippines. They don't know how to bring the money here in the US. So they don't have bank accounts anymore. So, ang nangyari is, lumapit yung isa sa akin. Sabi niya, Edith, meron akong check na na-receive, but I cannot negotiate it here in the US kasi in pesos. So, I told her to open an account in the Philippines, have that check bring back again in the Philippines and deposit it to the account. And once na-clear yung check, pwede niya nang i-withdraw dito sa Philippines. Tuwan-tuwa siya kasi finally, ang tagal-tagal niyang iniisip, malapit na mag-expire yung check niya, actually 6 months lang, but nahabol namin and na-withdraw niya yung pera dito sa US in US dollars already. So that's one of the services that we can offer to our kababayans na namumroblema and how to, you really don't have to go to the Philippines to open that account. We can facilitate everything here in the US. Okay, next slide, Wong, please. I'm happy to introduce PNB LA's Own a Philippine Home Loan. This will make your dream to own a second home or an investment property a reality. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, OPHL, that is the Own a Philippine Home Loan program of PNB, is a unique financing program specifically designed for permanent residents in the US and US citizens, so regardless of their nationality. Ang tawag namin doon, US persons. This program is unique as no US bank and no other Philippine bank can do this kind of lending program. So these are available to PNB Los Angeles, PNB New York, PNB Tokyo, Singapore, Hong Kong, Middle East, Europe, Canada, and Guam. Okay, Bong, next slide, please. So what makes our OPHL unique from what makes our OPHL unique from other home financing program in the Philippines? Of course, sa OPHL namin, ang loan is in dollars. Our borrowers are earning dollars in the US. So when you pay your amortization, you don't have to convert your dollars into pesos. because your loan actually is in dollars. So wala ka ng foreign exchange risk. You can actually forecast how much yung monthly amortization mo now without any worry na pwedeng tumaas or bumaba. Unlike, and you don't have also, when you're paying your amortization, you don't have to remit your payments. Dahil kami, nandito kami sa US, you just have to course the payment through us, through it's either ACH, i-debit namin yung account niyo sa local bank here in the US, or you will instruct your bank in the US to credit PNBLA. So wala nang hassle na kailangan mo pang magpadala ng pera sa Pilipinas para lang mabayaran yung loans. Okay? And also, yung sa spouse signature, importante rin to because in the Philippines, it's a requirement that you should secure the signature of your spouse. But here in the US, best effort basis. Alam naman natin na minsan medyo nagkakagalit yung mag-asawa. Ganyan, ang hirap i-secure yung signature, hindi siya nakikisama. Yung husband gustong bumili ng properties, but the wife refuses. So, merong mga conflict. So with this, ma-eliminate natin yun. And na-mention nga ni Bong kanina about co-borrower. Ang hirap naman magkumuha ng co-borrowers sa Pilipinas. Makikiusap ka pa na pwede ka bang mag-co-borrower. That is if you are availing of a loan in the Philippines. But here in the US, we don't require co-borrower. No need for a special power of attorney or attorney in fact, because you are already here in the US. Pag may question ka, you can just call or email us anytime dahil pareho tayo ng time zone. Okay? Unlike in the US, hihintayin mo pang gumabi before you can talk to your account officers.
Mhm.
Okay, next slide, please. And these are the loan purpose that we finance: house construction, purchase of condominium, reimbursement of or acquisition or construction cost, refinancing of Philippine peso home mortgage loan. Let's say meron naka-mortgage na sa ibang banko yung house and you're not happy with your financing, you can apply, you can talk to us and apply for refinancing. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and by partnering with Bong and his Bahay sa Pinas, we were able to offer a holistic solution for purchasing properties in the Philippines. BSP will help you find property relevant to your requirements. Once you have identified a property in the Philippines, by virtue of our unique partnership with BSP, we will guide you towards financing eligibility and ultimately helping you realize the property of your dreams. So once again, this is Edith Manalad of PNB Los Angeles branch, thanking you for your listening.
Thank you, Edith. And in fact, it's really nice to know na meron po tayong ka-partner in US wherein we help out. Pag may nakuhang property, meron na po tayong available loan in US. No? So thank you for that, PNBLA. And of course, this another partnership was actually formed by Bahay sa Pinas with another organization na pareho po yung line of thoughts of helping out our kababayan in the Philippines. And in fact, naglabas po kami before ng teaser po na invitation to the real estate practitioners, no, yung mga realtors dito and brokers in United States to go to the Philippines and witness po yung what's happening with the Philippine real estate. So let me show you po a short video about it. So, ito po yung nangyari last February, no? Nag-invite po tayo, nagkataon ng partnership with Faripa in Silicon Valley, wherein we encourage po yung mga brokers and realtors from US to go to the Philippines, no, para mag-witness po mismo. And here to discuss more about that partnership and the goal of Faripa for the Filipino-American community, we have here the Vice President, Ms. Ann Ramirez. Ms. Ann? Oh, hello, Ms. Ann?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
my mic is not working.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. But again, thank you so much. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat, Philippines and USA. Thank you again, Bong, for giving us the opportunity to share our experience in the Philippines and also the real estate development so far. I would like now to talk about a little bit of background of Paripa. Our story, Faripa Silicon Valley was founded in 2002, and it is the largest Filipino-American real estate organization in the United States of America. In addition to its commitment to the industry, Faripa's fundraising, together with the other two chapters, led to further involvement in the Gawad Kalinga, that is to give care, development foundation in which Paripa Village was established in the Philippines in 2007. Our local fundraiser, Faripa Fashion Show charity event, which was led again by our Vice President then CJ Javier, provides assistance with Life Moves, formerly in Vision, nonprofit provider for abused women, children, and family homelessness in the Silicon Valley. Now, during these precedented times, we have provided assistance to the Family Supportive Housing Shelter, an organization working with families to develop a step-by-step plan for becoming self-sufficient. Next slide, please. What's our mission? We are dedicated to promote the interests of Filipino Americans by creating a powerful national voice for housing and real estate professionals that serve this dynamic market, advocating for policy positions at the national level that will reduce barriers to home ownership for the Filipino American community. Third is increasing business opportunities for mortgage and real estate professionals that serve this growing community, hosting national and local events to educate and inform members about housing issues and developments affecting the Filipino American, conducting trade missions throughout the Philippines to develop business partnerships and increase brand. Now, I would like to put this quote here: ask not what the country can do for you, what you can do for your country. Very, very powerful quote from John F. Kennedy, challenging every American to contribute in some way to the public good. And I think the Filipino American will really make a difference in the Philippines economy. Now, we would like really to maintain or sustain the Philippine relationship, Philippine-USA real estate trade relations. We are really a very firm advocate of building and sustaining effective collaborative partnerships between the Philippines and the United States of America by providing business exchange and other mutually beneficial endeavors for our members and the community we serve. We also have developed a network of Philippine real estate professionals whom we can work with in regard to your real estate needs, one of which, of course, Bahay sa Pinas, USA. Our Trade missions serve as educational and learning experiences for prospective real estate investors like myself, of course, as well as those who wanted to sell their property in the Philippines. Again, real estate investing, even on a very small scale, remains a tried and true means of building an individual's cash flow and wealth. According to Robert Kiyosaki, a businessman and I think number one selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Next, Bong. But before we go into this video, I would like to say that it was the trade mission this year was really a tremendous, tremendous success. And I would like to thank, on behalf of the Faripa leadership, to thank the BSP team for doing an enormous amount of hard work to make our trade mission a success. As you know, as we all know, world trade relies on making good deals, which we did 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was a frenzy, I tell you. People are just buying, and I was just so thrilled myself. Make global connections, of course, and trade missions actually are a big part of this process. So again, there is again, Philippines gives you plenty of opportunities to also meet government officials, representatives in the real estate industry that you plan to do business with. You know, again, Bong, we were able to meet with the different developers from low end, mid, and high end. Oh my gosh, we were just so thrilled. And it was, Philippines has a plenty of opportunity to offer. Again, I cannot emphasize enough that most especially in the booming real estate markets for both expatriates and Filipino American retirees. I, in fact, am planning to retire there, you know, and you know, develop my land there, you know, and my money here, my retirement money is gonna go a long way in the Philippines. And when you invest also in the Philippines, I would like to say that you are not only building wealth, you're also helping your kababayans. You are actually creating jobs. You, by having loans and additional investments, you are creating economic impact in the Philippines. And that is why I cannot emphasize enough again that, you know, don't think about corruption and all that stuff, right? Because it is you. Everything that is happening in your life lies within you, not in the government. It's not going to be, the leaders there are not going to be there forever. So I would like to say that grab the opportunity now while it's still hot.
Mhm.
And again, in closing, yeah, and I think again, it was very productive and fruitful experience indeed. And again, in closing, on behalf of Paripa Silicon Valley, we would like to extend our great appreciation to you know, Basis Pinas, of course, coordinated by Bong and his team, our daily activities with the developers. Thank you a lot. Thank you so much again. And this is our the board, Paripa board in action. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Anne. Okay, we have around 10 minutes. I bumped it. Sorry.
All right. With that, thank
Yeah.
you, Miss Anne. Thank you for for that presentation. And with this, I'd like to again to thank everybody for uh, for giving time now to highlight, to witness the services of Bahay sa Pinas. And thank you again for Department of Trade and Industry and of course Faripa and PNB for joining us to this mission in the Philippines. Right? So thank you po.
Yeah, thank you. We
Thank you.
went a bit over time sa presentations, but you know, we would like to take questions kasi maraming questions na pumasok.
Mm.
I try to get them in the order that they came out dun sa chat box.
Okay.
Number one, siguro Bong, if you could just write down your email dito sa chat box because somebody's
Okay.
asking for your email so that they can get in touch with you for any questions that aren't addressed here. You could get in touch with him directly, or pati si Miss Edith and si Anne, if you could put on your emails in the chat box so
Okay.
people can get in touch with you. So okay, first question that I saw in the chat, it's from Mr. Jonah Git. He asked, can you handle the titling of agricultural property that is just handed down to generation without title? So I guess this is very common in the Philippines. Na, may lupa tayo dyan sa tabi ng dagat and we don't know kung saan. And we all know it's very complicated to speak with the Registry of Deeds and all that. So meron ba kayong ano dyan, Bong? Could you maybe try to limit the answer so we can
Yes, the answer po is yes. We do that every day, Raymond. Yung mga pagtulong from conversion of agri to residential or commercial, we do that on a regular basis.
How long does it take normally, the process?
It's about mga 3 months.
3 months. Okay. And ano naman yan? It's supported by all the receipts and all that kasi alam ko
Yes.
marami ring mga ano dyan, di ba? Marami ring mga himala dyan. So,
yes. The best part about this, Raymond, is that we don't take shortcuts. We go to the legal process so that safe yung property pagka-convert natin.
oo. So, from the same person, he also asked if you have a presence in Houston, Texas. And how is there any way they can contact you there or paano ba yan?
The best part about the technology right now is that maski nasa Houston kayo, we service all US. Just go to bahaysapinas.com and we'll be able to help you out. May tatawag po tayo na local.
Okay, ito naman to Miss Edith. It's a question from Miss Millares. If I want to open an account with PNB, do I have to go to LA? Because she's based in the Bay Area. Paano ba ho yun?
Yeah, not necessarily. May option kayo to just we will just send you the forms and the procedures on how to do it. Then the forms, you don't have to bring it personally to PNB LA. Meron kaming PNB remittance sa South Bay, sa South San Francisco. Just bring all your documents there, have it authenticated by our PNB RCI manager. And then after ma-authenticate, mail everything to PNB LA. There's no need to come here, drive from San Francisco to LA. That's 6 hours drive. So, yeah.
Okay, next question po also to Miss Edith. For those who already have a PNB account, can we use that account daw po for payment options pag meron na silang existing account with you?
Payment to what? Kasi kung babayaran is utility bills, they can actually enroll that account to online banking and pay online for their utility bills.
Kung halimbawa po yung loan na that you were talking about, yung home loan na kukunin niya dito and then do they need to open a separate account? I suppose that's the question. Or pwede
actually,
na yung account.
Yeah. Sorry. Actually, that's the good thing with having a loan with PNB. Hindi namin nire-require na mag-open sila na account with PNB. We can use their existing accounts here in the US because the loan is in the US. Ang PNB nasa US, ang loan nila nandito rin. So if they have an existing accounts with local banks, pwede nang magpa-ACH na lang sila or kami give instruction to PNB and we will just debit their account. Kasi kung meron silang existing accounts sa PNB sa Pilipinas, ang mangyayari is they will remit the funds from Philippines to the US, and that will be extra cost. It will be costly for them.
Okay. Siguro one last for you as for now. How much po ang interest rate daw for real estate bank financing? How much does PNB
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very competitive yung rates namin. It's just a long discussion actually. Hindi lang namin masabi right now, but we want to explain to them the advantages of availing of a loan, because if they will all compute the savings that they will get from availing of a loan with us, yung interest rates mas lalo pang bababa. That's why we cannot just say, oh, 8% or 5%, 6%. We want to talk with them and discuss with them the interest rates.
Okay. Thank you. To Bong, there's a question. Meron ba daw kayong limits onto the properties? How small, how big? Meron ba kayo? No?
Wala. Actually, naghahanap kami ngayon ng mga properties in the Philippines all over. Mga 10 hectares, 15 hectares in different locations. We recently closed a property in Bonifacio Global City, and then another one coming in from Quezon City in Ateneo. So we don't have a limit po. Sir Raymond, wala tayong limit sa sizes.
There's a question here for Bong as well. Can you process extrajudicial proceedings here and then sell the property?
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay. And then there's another one here. Do we have living trust in the Philippines?
Wala pa po tayo. But we do have another option. We can discuss po yung another option for that.
Po, yeah, siguro itong si Femi Cupid, if you could maybe email si Bong directly. I don't know, are there other questions that you have seen, Celine, that I may have missed?
Yes, there's another question from the chat. The question is, what is the better option, rent to own or selling right away? She's asking from the tax repercussion perspective. So,
okay. Mas maganda po yung pag-acquire mismo ng properties. Maraming tax benefit rather than renting. Actually, that's one of the fear, Ms. Celine, of our kababayans here. They thought that having a property in the Philippines will be a burden for their taxes in US. The answer is actually no. There are so many tax benefits for investing in the Philippines for getting a property.
Ito po, my question then kay Ms. Edith. There's a PNB branch in Las Vegas. Can we process applications there as well? Ang tanong nila. I suppose pareho
Same. Yes.
Kapaho ang branches ng PNB. I know New York, LA, where else? Las Vegas.
We have PNB Guam. But if we don't have PNB branches like in Las Vegas, we have PNB remittance centers where they can have their documents, account opening documents or withdrawal documents authenticated. After the authentication, they can again mail everything to PNB Los Angeles for processing. So even if yung mga taga Arizona, Texas, we have PNB remittance in Texas, just go to the nearest PNB remittance center. Please email us at pnblagroup@pnb.com.ph. We will send you the list of requirements for those who wants to open an account. And also, we will give you the procedure and the list of PNB remittance center branches where they can transact business with kung walang PNB or bangko ng PNB available sa lugar nila.
Okay. Well, the other questions I see, they're more of medyo siguro directed to Bong already na maybe will be best if siguro Bong, you'll have naman yung mga email address ng registrants for those who are here. You could just contact them directly, or again, Bong has put in his email address here, so you could also contact him. Just save his email coordinates dito po sa ating chat box. So I don't know. Are there more, Celine, that I missed?
Yeah, I know we are a little over than what we committed na 1 hour, but maybe we can have 2 more questions to answer. There's an interesting one that came in. First is, does citizenship have an impact on property investments in the Philippines? So that's the first. Before you ask that one, the second one is, actually, this is a question I'm throwing in. You did mention retirement.
Yes.
So what can you further expound on this? About the retirement investments in the Philippines? Are you talking about buying properties and for them to retire there? Because I read in Investopedia na maraming investments on real estate to the Philippines actually coming from California.
That's right.
And then they found out it's because of the retirees going back to the Philippines. So can you expand on this, Lee?
Yes, actually, to answer the first question, Ms. Celine, is regardless po of nationality, they can acquire properties in the Philippines, especially for those who are non-Filipinos, can also get condominiums in the Philippines. Pag ikaw po ay former Filipino, now a US citizen, meron lang pong limitation as to the sizes of the lote or the land, but definitely for condos pwede. So madami pong benefit, no? So there is no limitation for it. May limitations, but you can always invest in properties. Now, to answer the second question, Ms. Celine, is for retirement. For the last 30 years, we've been trying to crack the issue of Medicare. Next year po, ilo-launch na natin yan with Philippine Consulate. Ito po yung promise ko kay Conjen na ilo-launch natin to next year. So we'll be able now to use Medicare in the Philippines. But that's the bigger scale, no? A trickle down into a smaller scale is if a person wants to move to the Philippines and acquire properties, meron na po tayong, may issue po kasi tayo when it comes to getting loans for retirees. So at least right now, they can now get properties through the loans, that facility that we have together with Philippine National Bank as well. And at the same time, we will be able to guide them properly as to what are the best places, no, na pwede silang mag-retire, kung saan yung magandang location.
Ito, I wanted to ask this kasi under jurisdiction namin to sa DC. Any way Pinoys in Caribbean can avail this product with PNB? Kasi marami ho tayong Filipino workers in the Caribbean, and since they're in the islands, not as accessible as we want to. Ito Miss Edith, would you be able to respond to this question?
Sorry, what's the question?
Ano po sila? Marami ho tayong mga Filipinos who are based in the Caribbean, sa islands, sa mga Bahamas, sa mga St. Kitts, ganyan. So they're asking how can they open an account with PNB since they're in the islands nga. So they're not in the mainland USA.
Yeah. That's the thing, Raymond, no? Medyo meron tayong difficulty sa ganun situation because we allow only opening of account for US persons. So pagka wala silang social security number and outside US, we might not be able to accommodate them.
Okay.
Pero kung may existing na silang account, like for example, meron akong the other day lang, merong from Cayman Islands, humingi lang siya ng tulong, hindi siya makapag-withdraw ng account. Since malayo siya from Cayman Islands to LA, going to LA, may pandemic. So ang ginawa ko na lang is I asked him to send me an email. I coordinate with his branch in the Philippines. Nag-Skype na lang sila, nag-Viber, and na-withdraw niya yung money niya. Pinadala sa kanya yung funds. But if there's no existing account yet, medyo mahihirapan.
Talaga. Okay, sige po. Thank you for that.
Well,
Yes.
can I ask one question here? May pumasok from email. A developer sent advice to delay. There's a delay in construction. She's asking, do I have to delay my payment, or what are the repercussions of this?
Okay, that's optional po for the client. Meron po tayong right to ask if there will be delays of the turnover of properties. Of course, we can also defer the loan takeout. No? Ang suggestion ko po dyan, if it's under the down payment format pa, kung nagmamonthly for the down payment, continuously pay, don't delay it. Ang issue lang po natin is pag loan takeout na, kunwari for the balance, that's the time you can haggle if you want to pause or you want to continue still with the safe naman po ngayon sa Philippines, hindi na po katulad nung dati. Lahat po ng developers ngayon, strict na po yung government when it giving out license to sell. Pag nabigyan po yan ng license to sell ng Philippine government, matatapos po nila yan development na yan. So, we'll guide you po doon sa ganun. Thank you, Sir Eric.
Okay, we can take one last question here. Can Bahay sa Pinas assist in condo rental management?
We do have mga rental management teams na partners. Marami po tayo, no? So we will guide them kung paano po maparentahan. But majority po, Sir Raymond, ng mga ino-offer natin properties in US are really designed for income generating for the US market.
Okay, so Celine and colleagues, I think we've gone mga 6 minutes over time. What we'll do, we'll consolidate all the questions na hindi nasagot, and then we will send them to our resource persons, and we'll send them back to those who asked them. So we'll put them together, and of course, you have their emails. You can send them inquiries directly. Again, kung hindi namin sagot dito, please feel free to reach out to our resource persons directly para masagot po yung mga tanong ninyo.
Raymond, siguro before we end, I'd like to thank you, Miss Celine, si Sir Eric, si Sir Nick, of course, the whole Department of Trade and Industry and the Philippine Consulate General for arranging this, kasi this is something that we really need na malaman po ng kababayan natin, that they don't need to go back to the Philippines and ask for help. We can do it here in US.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So thank you again to everyone.
I just want to acknowledge Consul General Henry Bensurto Jr. He participated as an attendee. So thank you, Conja. Thank you for attending.
Henry, how are you?
Okay, so I think with that, we can wrap up our webinar for tonight. So I think we'll just take one picture. Are we taking a picture? Okay.
Okay, I will take the picture. Everyone smile. One more for insurance. There you go.
Okay, so again, thank you to all our over 100 participants. Thank you very much for the support of everyone who was here tonight, and we hope you found this useful. And we hope to see you again in our next webinar that we're going to organize. So thank you, and good night and good morning to everyone who's here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.